It's been a while, but we are back. Hayden Christensen is also back. He's going to be appearing in the Ahsoka Tano series. We have a big leak to talk about for season 3 of The Mandalorian, and we also discuss the Rule of Two versus the Dyad. All that and more here on Chatooine. All right, well, we're back. How has everybody been? I feel like we've been away for a minute, but there's also been nothing to talk about.
Yeah, not much to talk about. I mean, we had all that explosion over Visions, and then it just like petered out after that.
Yeah, it feels bad. I feel like not many people are talking about Visions anymore, if at all. I had a friend who reached out to me probably a few weeks ago, and he literally asked me, and we always joke about Star Wars, like this guy will watch the Phantom Menace behind the scenes documentary just to make fun of George Lucas. And he messaged me and was like, hey, did Visions ever come out? Like, what happened to that Star Wars anime? And this guy loves anime. Didn't even know about it. I don't know if he's watched it yet, but it feels like no one's really talking about that series anymore. It's kind of sad.
Lucasfilm didn't market it too much.
I just watched it on Saturday with my oldest. He hadn't seen it yet, so I sat him down and we watched it. And he really enjoyed it.
There you go. Hope more people like it. I would really like a season 2, but honestly, the way things are looking, I'm not sure. I wanted to do it on like last week's show because, like we said earlier, there's not much to really talk about these days. But one of the things was the Ninth Jedi director said that he actually wanted to do more episodes and whatnot, and so don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But it'd be nice if it did.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think that's definitely the strongest episode in terms of storytelling. It's not my favorite episode, but it's definitely the strongest. And that aspect.
It's definitely my favorite because it tells us that Rey did not reinstitute the Jedi Order.
Yeah, she's probably dead by then. She probably did.
Not only dead, lightsabers are gone. What did she do, Palpamins? What did she do that they lost the technology of lightsabers?
All these visions come true in some way. All right, it's the theme of Star Wars.
Well, these are technically not canon, all right? So maybe it wasn't Rey who messed it up. Maybe it was Finn, Maybe he became
Come on, Finn. Come on, man.
Could you imagine that? Or what if Poe's dumbass somehow became a Jedi, and that's the route they went for this non-canon stuff? I don't know.
Speaking of
that's why I'm all in favor of it becoming canon.
All right.
Speaking of Poe, I did rewatch the Lego Halloween special because that thing is just so fun.
I still haven't seen it yet.
I forgot about that. I think I watched like 20 minutes and I zoned out. Like I could not get into it.
Not as good as the holiday special last year, but it was still good.
Yeah, holiday special is pretty good.
Best piece of non-canon storytelling we've had.
Yeah, holiday special felt interesting. This is cringe. This is pretty bad.
Only gets worse.
I can't wait for Jon Favreau to make his Star Wars holiday special, and we have to force Longo to watch that. But that day we'll do a watch party or something.
I mean, if it's a non-Lego one, I can give it a chance, I suppose. But
okay, well then, if that's the case, which one do you like more? Do you like the Lego holiday special or the OG holiday special?
Oh, they're both trash. I mean, let's be fair. I mean, literally, as much as I hate the Lego Star Wars, at least there's some humor in there that makes it better. That OG one was just so bad. So bad.
It's pretty bad. Speaking of bad, if anyone is new here, our podcast, Chatooine, we talk about news, topics, debates.
That's a good transition.
Star Wars. We're on Spotify for any of you podcast listeners. If you're watching the show, leave a like, comment in the stream so we can engage with you all. I know it's a later one, but we're here. We're here to make magic because I wanted to talk about the Andy Serkis thing before we jumped into like the major conversations. Lunga fucking hates this idea, apparently, Andy Serkis being an Andor, but Jason Ward, he came out with a scoop literally right before the show started that Andy Serkis has apparently been casted in the Andor series, which yes has already wrapped filming. I think it's been done for almost like a month now. So it's been done for
August, I think is when they announced it.
Okay, so yeah, it's been a second, but apparently Andy Serkis is going to be in this. What do you guys think about that? Is it going to be Snoke? Is he another character? I mean, this guy can do anything with the mocap soup stuff that he's almost invented at this point.
If I had to put money, I'd say it's not a real story. Like I don't think he'll be in it.
That's probably the most fair answer.
Ding 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 ding.
I don't know. It just seems weird. And let's say hypothetically he is in it. he would most likely play a different character than Snoke. It just the storylines don't really match up. I mean, yeah, with the Bad Batch. I mean, if Andy Serkis is Snoke in this, then we're assuming it's going to tie into Palpatine's resurrection somehow. If Snoke's in this, it just seems too early. Like we know in the Bad Batch, Palpatine's been planning some sort of cloning for a while, but to have Snoke that early just seems off. And even if Andy Serkis is playing a different character, how often have we seen an actor play two different characters in a franchise? And I'm not talking about Mark Hamill like voicing some random alien or Darth Bane, like genuinely like semi-prominent characters. Now they could get away with it if they wanted to have him as a different character. It's not like Andy Serkis's natural voice sounds exactly like Snoke, so they could have him just be someone else and have him play himself. But I still think it's unlikely across the board that Andy Serkis is.
Yeah, I think this is just news for the sake of no news. It's not even news, and I've been seeing and this is not Jason Ward's fault, but there's people picking it up saying Andy Serkis has been cast. It's like, no, bro, it's a rumor. No one's been cast. It's a rumor. That's what Jason Ward posted it as. And I'm just having I don't hate the idea. I'm fine if Andy Serkis is in there. Especially this he's a master of mocap, dude. They hire him now for everything mocap. So there's a million aliens in Star Wars that he could literally be playing. So I have no problem with him being in it. I just don't think he is. I think it's a lot to do about nothing, to be honest with you. That's what I think it is.
I'm gonna throw you guys a curveball. This isn't for the Andor show. This is for something else.
No.
Because like when you think about it, like most of these leaks and stuff, they're always, we talked about this in the chats. He said, she said, telephone game, right? And so if Jason Ward heard this, he probably heard this from someone who heard this from someone who heard this from someone else. So when you go through that many layers and stuff, there's going to be misinformation or disinformation. Things are going to be wrong about that. As Goldman said, the timelines are kind of funky when it comes to Snoke. We don't completely know when his first main, body was made. At least I don't think we know the exact time when that happened. And we do know, obviously, Andor must take place sometime before Rogue One. And we know when that takes place, right before A New Hope.
So it's impossible for Snoke to be in this because Palpatine...
It's not impossible.
I guess, yeah.
It's just improbable because then, like, when we have what we saw in the Mandalorian season 2, like the cloning facility, I think a lot of us initially thought, okay, this is the early stages of Snoke. And so sense for that.
That's what I'm saying. I think Palpatine's cloning experiments came at the later stages of the Empire, not, right after Order 66, not right after the Empire took over.
Yeah, but
Bad Batch would disagree with you.
Not right before right before A New Hope. That could be possible. Yeah,
but
if we're talking about that time frame, what Andor is right before A New Hope.
Yeah, because all we know is that Palpatine started it because he sensed that Vader was going to kill him. So he said, "Oh crap, I need backup." Right, the whole Chosen One thing. I need a backup plan. I don't think we know, and someone could confirm this, but I don't think we know when he truly started this whole cloning thing. And right now, all I know is this cloning advancement started with the Bad Batch. That's like the earliest stage that we know where they started manipulating with cloning technology and tried to advance it. So technically, you could do it that way in Andor, but I can't see it.
Here's an interesting question. We saw, I think, canonically, Rey was born about 10 years after Return of the Jedi, 10 or 11 years.
Yeah.
If Rey's dad, who is Palpatine's failed clone, doesn't have accelerated aging, that means he must have been born way before Episode 4, assuming he was in his 20s at the youngest when Rey was born.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. Okay, Snoke's in this show confirmed. All right.
Yeah. Or nobody did the math when they created these characters. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean...
they can always change it. It's just numbers.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, Goldman, I've never thought about, her dad or granddad, father clone thing, whatever that thing is. I never thought about him, age-wise. How old is he in that? He could be 19, and it still would be wait a minute, how does this work? So,
it's just the fast aging technology.
It's not impossible. Clones. It's not impossible that Palpatine created this clone before Return of the Jedi. I mean, maybe he was just working on trying to get another host for his body in the event that he does die, and then just during the process, he actually did die. And then they had to continue it with him, hanging from a giant crane. So it's not impossible. We just don't know. I think we all assume that this all started after Return of the Jedi, but it's not confirmed, and I don't think it's impossible that it starts before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree that it may have started before. At least, I mean, what we saw with the Bad Batch, it's they're kind of getting that hints.
The early stages of it, yeah.
At least with season 2. So I don't fucking know. I really don't know how I feel about Andy Serkis being in Star Wars again. He was fine as Snoke. I think he did the best job that he could. The character was interesting, and it seems like he expected something different for the character in terms of like where he's from. At least that's the impression I got. And so having him come back is kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to say a missed opportunity with his original character, but I don't really have an interest in him coming back. Like, what's he going to do? If he can play an alien in a mocap suit, that's going to be very interesting. But in general, yeah, if it's not Snoke, and it shouldn't be, I don't really care. You know, he's a good actor, but other than that,
I think the only way I'd want to see Snoke again is if we actively see his manipulation of Kylo Ren. If we see him during the Andor series, what is there for him to do?
Why? Yeah,
Someone brought wasn't really him. It was Palpatine in his head the whole time. So I mean, what did he really do?
It's still Palpatine can answer because he has the book. But in that book, Secrets of the Sith, they say that it's kind of confusing. Where Snoke was his own person, but he was under the influence of Palpatine at the same time. So like he made his own decisions, but he was programmed to do what Palpatine wanted.
It's like my best example of it would be like possession movies. I know that's like completely different genre, but like possession movies, demon possessions, it's kind of like that. Where like, yeah, that person still exists, but then once that demon the demon's always lit, it can always be in that mind. So whenever it wants, it can snap right in there and do what they want with the host, with the body. That's why I've personally always seen the whole Palpatine Snoke relationship. It's like a demonic possession.
That Palpatine even has about it in that fucking book, Secrets of the Sith. It says, like, he calls it pulling the strings, and he basically says that he manipulates Snoke, that Snoke has a natural sensitivity to the Force, in that he literally says in this one passage called In Name Alone, it says, Snoke was a temporary measure at best. My faithful followers in the unknown regions still sought to produce a body worth my infinite might. So it never seemed like he actually cared about Snoke. So it's not like Palpatine was Snoke, but he did manipulate him. So it's a very unique thing. Like, did Snoke know he was being manipulated? Did he know Palpatine was alive? Who created him? I don't think those answers need to be
Snoke
answered.
seemed very anti-Sith. It was just more about the dark side, not the Sith. You know what I mean? It was a weird.
Yeah, it was so
a weird thing, and I still really believe what created the Snoke that was in the sequels is going to come out of what went on with the experimentation with Grogu. That's why I don't think we have a Snoke.
I'm 100% on board with that. Yeah,
we have the technology, we have them experimenting, trying to figure stuff out, or before that. But I think Snoke, as we know him, wasn't.
Do you think that Moff Gideon knows this?
Yes.
Or do you think Moff Gideon's under like 3 different people? So there's different layers to this.
Yeah, some people are thinking he's under Thrawn, but I don't think he's under Thrawn. I think he's early First Order. That's what I think. And Thrawn is his own thing. He comes back out of nowhere. He doesn't know nothing about First Order. He's a OG imperialist, and that's what he wants to try to bring back. And I think there's going to be an issue between Snoke's contingent, Thrawn's contingents, and the First Order. I would love to see a little civil war.
That would be really cool. Actually,
that in the Aftermath trilogy, the first trilogy of books that came out post Return of the Jedi, and there was a lot of fighting among the Imperials. You had, it was almost like warmongers, almost like these certain sections of this empire falling apart, and certain commanders and generals wanted to run it the way they wanted to, and some people were still loyal to the Emperor. Some people even lied about him, saying that he was still alive. So it's kind of interesting to explore that and how Thrawn would be tied into it. But all of this is post Episode 6. So if Snoke is even remotely involved in Episode 4 or something before Episode 4, I feel like it throws a timeline in a loop that I don't really want to deal with in general. But we do have I think some of the biggest news that came out over this past week.
Here we go.
I definitely, I feel like I'm maybe in the minority. Goldman will be back in a few seconds to talk about this with us. Anakin in the Ahsoka Tano series. this report came from the Hollywood Reporter, and they said that Hayden Christensen will be reprising his role as Anakin Skywalker in the upcoming Ahsoka Tano series. And I guess big news on it too was that they would begin production in early 2022, meaning that 2023 is likely the year that they're going to release this. And I talked about it in my video. I feel like there's like 3 possibilities you can have as Anakin returning in some way. And I'll swing this to you guys first. Like, what do you want to see from Anakin in Ahsoka's series? I feel like this is weird, but yeah, Longa, hit us. What's your idea?
I am completely opposite of you. I'm all for it. I don't think it's all member berries. I think it's effing great. And unlike the Obi-Wan series where we're getting, he's going to be, I mean, we were told he's coming back reprising his role as Darth Vader, right? That's what we're being told. There might be some Anakin flashbacks, but we're told Darth Vader. In this, there was only one interaction with Ahsoka and Darth Vader, and she didn't even realize at the time for sure that it was Anakin, right? The Rebels confrontation, or the clone Rebels, the Rebels confrontation. Other than that, she has nothing to do with it, and this time period is after Darth Vader's dead. So I really think this is setting it up for live action Clone Wars. You're going to get Anakin Skywalker, and I'm going to shit myself. I'm going to shit myself if they're in the same screen together, and Hayden Christensen calls Rosario Dawson snips, and it's gonna be. I'm gonna love it. I'm gonna love it.
I'm gonna cry.
I'm gonna love it. You can go hug your Claude if you want, Goldman, and don't watch it. It's fine.
I got my
but
poor.
I'm gonna love it.
What the fuck?
Well, Lunga, are you gonna piss yourself and shit yourself because Ewan McGregor is possibly gonna be in this too? I know. It was in Corey Van Dyke, the guy from KRT. He was hinting that Obi-Wan would also be in the series. So, I mean, with both of those, I mean, does that change your opinion on this at all? Because I mean, you already know my thoughts. I feel like this is clear, like easy fan service, which is fine if it works. If it works in the story, I'm all for it. But like, just looking from the outside in, I'm already like, oh. Okay.
You know what?
Oh boy.
You know what's the interesting thing though? I just looked this up. It's that Rosario Dawson is older than Hayden Christensen.
No way.
Yeah,
but she looks damn good.
I'm sorry, but like, if they want, I'm tending to believe it's more so going to be a Force ghost. Because in the Clone Wars, Ahsoka's like 17 and Anakin's like 21. You're gonna have 2 40-year-olds like play these characters. Yeah, they can do de-aging, but I feel like it's just easier to just bring in. Yeah, you kind of have to de-age Hayden Christensen because we've seen a live action Anakin. We can easily just bring another actress to play younger Ahsoka. So it's either that. I just do not see Rosario Dawson playing a 17-year-old Ahsoka. I just don't.
I mean, a slight because she doesn't look old. Let's be fair. She doesn't look old.
She doesn't look 17.
I was getting there. She obviously doesn't look 17, but it's not like de-aging. Mark Hamill, being 60-something years old, to look like young Luke. It would be some real slight combination of practical makeup and a little de-aging technology, and she could look like she's 17. It wouldn't be that hard to do. It's not that far of a reach. You know what I mean?
I think it's the way to bring Hayden back, though. Like I said in my video about this, was that I feel like if they did Anakin and a flashback and him and Ahsoka, like during the Clone Wars with Kenobi, I feel like that's just literally giving live action Clone Wars, which sure, it's cool, but like kind of wasted potential in terms of story narrative. Like, did I really need a flashback with them during the Clone Wars? If it's Hayden as Darth Vader and she has to like fight him in a cave or something like that, like Luke had to do in Empire Strikes Back, that I feel like is a little more tolerable. I feel like the only option and the only thing a lot of us are expecting is him as a Force ghost and them having like a conversation about him turning back to the light, her getting some closure or something like that with him as a character, because the relationship is very unique and it's always been limited to the series and the shows because she's not in the movies at all. She's not even mentioned. So now that we have them in Clone Wars and we have them in Rebels, I feel like we're getting the ending of that relationship with her series. I see you cringing over there, Longo. What is it?
No, not cringing. It just makes me laugh because Rey wasn't important enough for him to appear. But it's okay.
Hey, you saw episode 9. You know what happened. You know what he talked to her about.
Ahsoka talked to her.
Yeah, Ahsoka talked to her. See, this is, fuck, like, I'm going to be honest. If she lives to be in episode 9, like, here's my thing with her series, and I don't want to go off of the Anakin appearing in this. I'm a cynic. Ahsoka needs to die. I need to see this girl die, or sit down on a ranch, look out on the sunset, and just be at peace. At some point, these character stories have to end, and I just keep feeling like we're dragging Ahsoka's on. And I do not want her series to be focused on Anakin and Obi-Wan and Sabine and Barriss Offee and Thrawn and Ezra. It's like, but this is called Ahsoka, and I feel like we have so many characters getting in this now that it's just making me slightly concerned for this series. But Pablo Memes, I don't think we've gotten your take on Hayden appearing as Anakin in the series. What are your thoughts?
I'll shit myself if I see this man pull up. Look, Anakin Skywalker is the guy I grew up with when it comes to Star Wars. Like, I don't care what anyone says about his character development or arcs. I don't care. Okay, I love the guy. No, but for real, I think you're exactly right about that. Stars Only. This is the Ahsoka show, so we're not going to see him in flashbacks. We're not going to see this in flashbacks. The flashbacks we'll see more than likely will be in the Kenobi series. This is for sure going to be a Force Ghost Anakin. There's no reason for them to do anything else other than that, because again, the show's about Ahsoka. What better way to do it than to give Ahsoka a nice closure to her master that we all grew up knowing, right? Giving us flashbacks, in the moment we're like, oh, cool, Clone Wars, live action Clone Wars, but that's just blatant fan service for the sake of fan service, and I have issues with that, and I think a lot of other people would as well. But it would really help.
Why is there face paintings in the logo for the Skywalker Academy?
Are we bringing this up again? Yeah, we had the whole debate. It's the Rey
Come on,
Skywalker
yo.
Academy.
Yeah, so Lunga, like, I'm trying to get your take on, is she, you think she's gonna like teach the fucking next Jedi Academy, Skywalker Academy?
Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna do it or when or what, but it's like the whole, okay, Skywalker Academy was trademarked for a clothing line, right? So okay, we got a clothing line. They trademarked Skywalker Academy. Then what is this freaking logo? Why do we have this logo that has Ahsoka's?
Please don't do this. Please don't tell me she's going to teach like a Jedi. I'm telling you, man, if you're doing this in terms of story, why don't you just fucking do this in the sequels?
Come on.
Just give Dave Filoni his own fucking movie. Like, I don't like this
Think
stuff.
where Skywalker comes from. Who's the last living Skywalker after the sequels? And also, according to Dave Filoni, Ahsoka could still be alive. Despite everything we know.
Even what Gamer Guy says right here, this fucking infuriates me. Filoni said if he kills Ahsoka, and that's a big if, he'll do an animation where her story started. Come on, you're telling me I gotta watch a series of her, and then again in animation, and then her story ends?
People love Ahsoka and
Yes,
Mandalorian.
give me all the Ahsoka.
That live action appearance of Ahsoka was huge, not just to the real strong fan base, but to the common grounds of the fan base. The average Joes in the Star Wars fandom. So
I do not
connection.
I do not believe that in terms of in the chronology from her appearance in The Mandalorian, we will not see her in animation after that point. I don't think so. We might see her in the Bad Batch. Maybe if they do another series before Rebels, but we're not going to see her in animation after.
I always forget there's another Bad Batch season.
God, of course we
all
forget. And you know,
those last 4 episodes are spectacular.
I feel bad about Ahsoka because I feel like since I've grown up with this character, I'm kind of over it, and I'm like, I want to move on to other characters. I'm done with this. But the problem that I'm having with this is that it seems like her character story is really just getting started because she just had her introduction in the live action. She's going to be the next big thing for a lot of Star Wars fans, and especially like female representation in Star Wars. So I don't think they're going to let this character go for many years. And I don't know. It does make me a little concerned from the story. Maybe because
she also represents that, still being good, but against that dogmatic Jedi teachings. You know what I mean? So she
is a great character. Like that is what I think a lot of us and a lot of people in general really like about her, is that I think you're hard pressed to find a lot of people who don't think she's a good character or a character who's gotten better. I mean, a lot of us remember
unless they've only watched the first season of Clone Wars.
Well, exactly. Like a lot of people, I fucking hated her at the beginning of Clone Wars. I hated her in the movie, but I think the point was to dislike her and have her being an annoying brat. And as time went on, things changed and she really matured. But geez, man, if you're telling me I get Ahsoka series, maybe we get 1 or 2 seasons. Whatever happens with her, Thrawn, and Ezra happens, and then there's another series that is animation, and then she dies. I feel like we're gonna continue her story for the next 9 years.
9?
I can see it. If they're giving her own live action show, I just do not believe they'll kill her off in animation.
Yeah,
she's now a live action character, like that always trumps anything else. Dave Filoni's never going to retcon any Rebels or Clone Wars stuff, but live action stuff comes first, and Lucasfilm knows that.
The more he gets his feet into live action, and the more he notices it and knows how much people love it, and more of these characters that come up on screen that were his, that are live action, you don't know what his reaction. He may say that now, you know. I mean, George Lucas also. I mean, think about all the stuff George Lucas said that he wasn't going to do, or he was going to do that didn't happen or did happen. Despite
you're
what he
scaring me,
said.
man. I don't want Dave to become the next George and start stepping on his own toes.
He's his adopted son. I mean,
I think Dave's a little bit more of a further thinker. Like, I think when Dave wrote Rebels, he knows. I think right now he knows how Ahsoka's story is going to end. Whether we see that in 10 years, 5 years, 1 year, he knows. George, I think he just wanted to tell his 6 stories, and that was it. He didn't care about the rest. One at a time.
Yeah, for me, I'm still hit or miss with a lot of Dave Filoni stuff. He's done a lot of things that I absolutely love, but he's also made a lot of decisions that I'm like, dude, come on. He has directed and written one of the least favorite episodes of mine in The Mandalorian, and him doing his own series, just a little nervous, man. I really don't like what he did with Darth Maul in Rebels, the way that went out. I really wanted that to be something that would have been in live action, because like Goldman was just saying, like, live action trumps all. So seeing Darth Maul in the Kenobi series in live action, I would have loved that. But regardless, but back to the Anakin thing. I think all 3 of you are in favor of this. All 3 of you are excited about this.
Yeah, and really give my take. I think it makes sense. I don't want him to be a prominent role in the show. I'm not getting it super emotional about it. Would it be cool? Sure. What would make me emotional is if Ahsoka found out that. I think it would be better if Ahsoka actually found out that Anakin turned back to the light from Luke, as opposed to from Anakin's Force Ghost himself. I'm not a big fan of Force Ghosts, because every time a Force Ghost shows up, there's a bunch of questions that result from it. Like, why didn't this ghost tell this person this, and blah blah blah. And the sequels are a big reason for that. But it looks like we'll probably see Anakin as a Force Ghost over flashbacks. I just don't really need to see Ahsoka and Anakin flashbacks. The thing with Anakin and Obi-Wan is in the movies, we never really saw them actually as friends. They had some good banter in the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, but that was it. In Attack of the Clones, they're whining about each other the whole time. And in The Phantom Menace, they don't like each other.
We were brothers!
He's overly critical.
Yeah.
So you ignored that whole emotional scene, Goldman?
It's unfair.
Yeah, just because he says it doesn't mean we actually get to see it. So
Right, I agree with that, yeah.
So seeing Ewan and Hayden actually like each other in live action form is something that we haven't really seen. I think would be cool. We've seen so much of Anakin and Ahsoka, but do we really need to see them in live action together? I just don't think so.
At least not during the Clone Wars.
Not during the Clone Wars, yes.
If it's after Return of the Jedi and he is this Force ghost, I feel like that conversation is extremely important, and I think would almost grind the show to a halt, because we'd all want to focus on that, which is a good sign. But how are they going to deliver this? Like, is he going to show up when she is in a dire situation and he like shows up to help her somehow, or is he there to give her advice or give her closure about the relationship? It's going to be curious if he becomes like a prominent character who's constantly with her, because you got to think Barriss Offee is supposed to be in this series, so she's going to recognize Anakin. What if Anakin sees Thrawn? Like, what if Thrawn sees Anakin as a Force ghost? Would he not fucking freak out? Because he'd be like, I knew this guy as a Jedi. I knew him as Darth Vader. That'd be a very interesting conversation. What if Ahsoka can't convince Thrawn that the Force is real and all that shit, and Anakin has to show up and do it? I don't know.
Are you suggesting
never
for
do
the
that.
first time in Star Wars that a non-Force user is seeing a Force ghost?
Yeah, doesn't that break
That would
canon?
be. Oh,
That would be interesting. I mean, did
No, I
Leia
think-
see did Leia see the Force?
He always
ghost
has
at
his
the end?
Slamari too. He has like the
No.
Force, deleting
That-
little
You think that's
creatures
gonna
with
fuck
them
with
and
the
everything.
ghost, huh? You think
That
the ghost give a fuck about the?
Yeah, it's the Force. They're
That would-
literally talking through the Force. Yes.
that would,
No, it's a ghost.
if Anakin showed up to anyone besides Luke or Ahsoka, I'd be furious, because we've only seen Force ghosts serve one purpose, and that is to advise a person who is currently struggling. No other purpose have we seen a Force ghost do anything except wave to Luke at the end of Return of the Jedi. That's it. So if Anakin just showed up and had a casual conversation with Thrawn as a Force ghost, I think that would actually break what Force Ghosts
Why
are
we have
about.
Luke and Leia at the end of Rise of Skywalker? Then there was no struggle going on there.
Yeah, there was.
It was just-
Rey
it was
was
just
struggling with
to-
her identity, and she
What
wanted
about
their
Luke?
approval so she
What
could take on the Skywalker name.
What about Luke in The
Listen.
Last Jedi when he forced projection? Even fucking Poe was like,
That's not
Who's
Force
dying
Ghost. That's a
time?
projection. That's different.
it's the same
I
thing.
think she
No, it's
assumed
not.
a
Luke
lot
wasn't-
from a
Luke
head
wasn't-
nod.
Luke wasn't dead yet. Talking about Force Ghosts, blue hue Force Ghosts, not
Force ghosts are like
Force
through the
Ghosts.
entire vessels
you
of
know
the
what
Force, whereas what
Goldman- you know
Luke
what
did, it was a
Goldman-
literal like transcribing of him
Luke
into.
caught a fucking lightsaber with his bare hand as a Force Ghost and Rise of
Obi-Wan
Skywalker.
sat on a rock in Empire Strikes Back.
He was squatting.
Oh
the-
yeah,
the-
get that leg day in.
And technically, he would have to have trained. I mean, I do like. I would still love to see it. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see an Anakin Force Ghost. I'm a homer like that. I would love to see it. But at the same time, it's like technically he shouldn't be able to because it takes a lot of training for people to learn how to do that.
He's
They
the
don't
chosen
just
one. Everything's
the
good.
chosen
know
one,
how to
right?
do it.
Yeah.
The chosen one. He literally was the
He was
embodiment of the
also
Force,
a
born
Sith
of the
until the
Force.
moment he died.
That's true,
Well,
but he came back.
You won't go to heaven until you accept Jesus Christ, and if you do that the moment before you die,
Oh,
you'll
Jesus.
still be okay. All right.
So the Wills are Mormons, is what you're telling me. That's what you're telling me. The
Absolutely.
Wills are Mormons.
Hey, George's sequel trilogy was going to go into that, so maybe we'd have known.
And the stuff in the EU is like the Force Ghost shit they do in that in a lot of the EU is crazy shit. Like I think it was Anakin Solo's Force Ghost like guided people like during an evacuation or something. I could be
Yeah, and Han
dangerously
Solo
wrong.
fought an Otter Queen. I mean, not the EU is not great. There was parts of the
No,
EU
what I'm
that
saying
she
is
need to
that-
die.
I don't want to
Never
give
come back.
I don't want to give the Force Ghosts the midichlorian syndrome where we have to explain everything about them.
Yeah.
All we should know is that they show up to advise people, and that is it. They serve no other purpose.
But
That's all.
But see, for me, like when I think of that, like you're saying, we don't have to explain them because that does make it a little more complicated than it needs to be. There is nice to have some mystery to it. I'm saying if like Ahsoka shows up, or Anakin shows up in the Ahsoka series to talk to her as a Force Ghost, if Thrawn or Ezra, if all three of them see Anakin, to me that doesn't break anything. To me that does not ruin any immersion because I'm like,
Oh.
it's the Force. It's the Force. Of course, Thrawn's gonna see it. It's
Yeah,
the
but
Force's life. Why would he not see it?
but
I just-
in Empire Strikes Back, Kenobi is very clearly there as a Force Ghost when Luke's about to die on Hoth. So is Han Solo, and Han Solo it doesn't itch. He does not see him. So
Yeah,
do
but I don't
they?
think he-
I mean,
I don't think he even looked. I think Han showed up after Ben went away because literally like Luke's
Han,
like,
no.
Yeah.
Han Solo and his Tauntaun literally ran right through Kenobi's
Yeah.
ghost.
Yeah. He ran right through
So
the
unless
ghost.
this
Well,
guy's just a
fucking
very
maybe,
bad
huh?
driver,
That's a good
keep
point.
him off the
No,
road.
They can't. They can't have casual people see Force Ghosts. To me, that
No.
breaks so
I
much.
agree. Because the
Yeah,
Force
before
Ghost,
it
the
says
whole
it.
thing
I
is
know
like
what they say because technically every living thing is connected to the Force, right?
Yeah,
But
surrounds us, finds
but
us,
but
all that
not
shit.
everybody who's connected to the Force has the ability to tap into it.
they don't have that
That's
that
connection. Yeah.
So
the
why can
midichlorian
Thrawn
count.
see the Bendu, but he can't see a Force Ghost?
Because Force Ghosts are not. The Force Ghosts are different. The Bendu's a living creature that exists that's just strong with the Force. Force Ghosts are dead people that
Spirits.
reincarnate into a
Become
blue hue
one with the Force.
for one specific person.
But
I really
Qui-Gon
think
did
that-
say that.
They join
What
with
did
the living
Qui-Gon?
Force.
What did Obi-Wan say in Revenge of the Sith when he's talking about Qui-Gon learning how to? It was just he's just said speak through the living Force.
Oh,
didn't he?
Yoda was like,
Or whoever. Yeah, Yoda.
He's like old master who like is in the netherworld of the Force. That's what they've constantly called it. The netherworld is if you die and you go on.
Right.
Um,
And there's different types of. There's the cosmic force. There's the living force, and the living force is what the Force Ghosts go through because they're still connected to the living and everything that's living, and they speak through the living force. And Qui-Gon, as far as we know, the way they described it, he only learned enough to manifest his voice, not his physical form.
yeah. Well, Anakin fucking learned how to do it all. Like,
Dude, this dude was literally born of the. He is space Jesus. He can do whatever he wants. Sorry.
There was a EU book about it was very interesting where it was right after Vader died, and I guess it's in some sort of netherworld of the Force, but Obi-Wan starts talking to Anakin and he's like, you need to do this now or else your like soul will be lost forever. and like he basically teaches Anakin how to become a Force Ghost very quickly through the net door of the Force.
Very quickly.
It's very confusing. They should just not explain and be like, "Oh, Anakin became a Force Ghost."
I'm with you there. It's not something that
I
we
mean,
really
look what they did
know.
with the sequel trilogies. We don't need training. It's we get it. It's fine. Let's.
I'll go on a tangent, Lunga, if you want me to. It'll be a good 5 minutes.
Well, I don't think there's much we could extract from this fucking Anakin conversation. God, I'm so curious on how this is going to play out. You know what? I'm actually curious if Dave Filoni's mad that it even got out. Like, I'm
Dude, you guys. By the way, we haven't talked about this. Rosario Dawson flat out confirmed it on Instagram, right? You guys saw that, right?
And she deleted it.
She deleted it because she goes, "Oh my gosh, they know. See you soon, Sky Guy," or something like that.
She probably
flat
thought
out-
she probably thought it was an actual Lucasfilm
Yeah.
announcement or something.
And she's done that in the past
mean,
before.
the whole
She shared casting rumors of the guy who's playing Ezra. She shared it to her story, and then an hour later, she deleted it. But I've seen some people like claim that it's kind of a smart promotional tactic to kind of, here it is. Oh, now it's gone, and it gets people talking
Drum up
about
interest.
it. Yeah,
Just to
exactly.
be
I'm
fun.
like, okay, I can see if she was, because like she probably doesn't even run her own social media accounts. Or at least she has someone, a big star like her.
You know
for the
what
most
it is.
part.
They would like if you look at the phenomenon that is the MCU. Okay, there is just constantly theories and stuff swirling around the MCU over and over again to the point that people hated WandaVision because their theories didn't come true about Mephisto. Okay, and which was dumb. But it's like, but it's so I think they're trying to capture some of that with Star Wars to get that buzz, to get people organically talking about it without them making announcements. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
but
that
the
would
freaking
make
when the
sense.
actor itself announces, the main actress says, "Hey, he's in it." Then how can we like that? That's my problem. Is I do.
She's Star Wars Mark Ruffalo and Tom Holland. I don't know. Yes.
Oh yeah, I love those interviews. Oh man, don't you hate when everyone dies? Well, not everyone.
Not everyone. Yeah.
I love it, man.
Whoop. And they put their hand over his mouth.
I'm
Just
sure Dave
stop,
Filoni
just
is
stop
like
talking.
clenching his fist and fucking.
There's like 5 holes in his walls right now. Just
Yeah, he's like,
These
God
cowboy
damn,
hats.
You know, a lot of people forget that one of the Asian characters in Rogue One during Star Wars Celebration, he literally said in front of everyone that Donnie Yen's character died.
Yeah, he's like, when this character die, and then people were like, wait, what the fuck did he say?
Like,
And then Alan Tudyk's like,
What
"Oh,
did
what did he say?"
anybody? Was I the only person that went into Rogue One when I first heard about it, going, "Oh yeah, all these people are dead"? I knew they were all gonna die.
We all knew
Of
that,
course
but
we
they
did.
didn't. They're not
I think
supposed to
most-
say that.
I think most people knew the fucking the second they announced the movie. Like, what are you gonna think? Oh, they don't get the plans. Like, we don't know what the fuck happened. Like, they get the plans. We don't know any of these characters after, so they're probably gonna be dead. Like by the end of it. I mean, fuck, it's Rogue One. You don't care about the characters.
Is Favreau connected to the Ahsoka series? Is that
Yeah, he's an
all-
executive producer.
He's an executive producer, right?
It's
Yeah,
definitely part of
he's
the-
But he's
likely
not doing anything with
mentoring.
writing or.
I doubt he's right. From the announcement, Dave Filoni is the writer, likely the series director. He's probably going to bring some people on to direct. I wouldn't be surprised if John Favreau directed an episode or two.
Yeah, and you have him there for
think-
his like
I
for
think-
help. Just to
I think
talk to.
Filoni and Favreau sat down and they planned out what Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Boba Fett, and Rangers of the New Republic, what those are going to be about and where it's all going to lead. And then specific people will be in charge of the other stories. That's not the Mandalorian. Like Favreau's not going to directly write Ahsoka. Filoni will, but Favreau knows what's going to happen. He kind of planned it out. Is Favreau a writer on Boba Fett, or is that just
Yeah, I think he's a writer. I'm pretty confident he's one of the writers for the series, if not like the series writer. I think Roberto Rodriguez is just like the series director.
Well,
I'm sure he's a
basically-
driving force too. He most
Yeah.
likely has a plan
Yeah,
Right.
For it.
They're
But again,
learning.
especially these newer directors coming in, they might have a plan, but it's a plan that was thought out on a whiteboard with Favreau.
It's like they have the outline and then they
It's that
say,
way.
okay, you can fill in the gaps, but it has to follow over all this. Boom,
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
He learned from Feige. I kept saying this over and over again. He studied under Feige in Marvel. I'm telling you, and he learned a lot from Feige, and he's trying to apply the same kind of things that Feige did here.
And
That's
God
why I
bless
still
him
think
for it.
that's why I still think he could end up taking over for Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, I would not be
I can see
surprised
it.
at all. I think it'd be a great move. On to John Favreau stuff. We do have some Mandalorian leaks from yet again Jason Ward. He put out a big scoop for Mandalorian season 3. I'm using this bulletin points from the Reddit leaks page for Star Wars, and it says that the Mandalorian is preparing to film a sequence for the 3rd season of the series. The sequence is currently casting actors and finding creative ways to use fan costumers to fill around 75 different Mandalorian suits of armor. the featured Mandos will be played by local actors, whereas background moments will use costumers from the fandom. These 75 Mandos are going to do some armor swapping of pieces to create even more variants to see on screen. Let's see.
We know what that is.
Like a summary, I guess. It's like a lot of these Mandalorians from around the galaxy answer a call that Din Djarin sends out to the galaxy of Mandalorians for help, and his legend is growing throughout the galaxy as rumors of a true Mandalore returning is heard. And when Din makes the call, it is answered by more Mandalorians than you could ever imagine. And I think that's kind of it. Yeah, no, that seems to be it from the scoop. So just sounds like a lot of fucking Mandalorians. It sounds like what we all predicted about season 3, right? We all talked about how it was clear that he is going to become Mandalore in some way, and that at least season 3 we all knew was really going to focus on the Mandalorians as like a culture and as a species. So Goldman, what are your thoughts on 75 Mandalorians? Is that the lucky number?
Well, I mean, it makes sense with what they're setting up. I mean, yeah, we know they're going to have to go back to Mandalore, whether it be in season 3 or later seasons if they do more than 3 seasons. But we talk about answering the call. It makes sense because they established at the end of season 2 is that whoever has the Darksaber, it's not so much that they have it, it's the story of how they got it. And I guess right now the story is that Din Djarin beat the guy who was in charge of the Night of Tears. Was that what they called it? Because there's still a big event in Mandalore's history that we don't know that took place after Rebels. And that's that Moff Gideon and some other Imperials at some point just went to Mandalore and probably glassed the whole place or just completely destroyed it all. So
the Great Purge, they called it, right?
The Great Purge. Yeah. So Din Djarin defeating the Moff, who's in charge of that, that's going to be a legend that rings to other Mandalorians, and that will maybe inspire them to help take Mandalore back from the Empire. Although it would be weird. I still find it weird that the Empire would be in charge of Mandalore still, considering the Empire is supposed to be in hiding right now and the New Republic's a thing. So it seems weird. And Mandalore seems like a pretty important planet in the Clone Wars, so you'd think the New Republic would want to get the Empire out of there. It's really confusing, but I'm sure when they explain it, it'll make sense.
Every time there's problems on Mandalore, the Republic and the Jedi's always like say, nah, just leave them.
Deal with it yourself.
No, but no, but they're always aware. But if the Imperial presence was still in Mandalore, I feel like the New Republic would do something about it. I could be wrong.
Yeah, the game guy's right. That it was probably part of Operation Cinder, because they did kind of mention Operation Cinder with what's his face's character, with Bill Burke's character, Bill Burke's character.
Yeah. I don't know if I would think that the Republic would really care much about Mandalore just because of the troubled history of that planet. I mean, it seemed like pretty much up until the Clone Wars, it had been known to be a warlike planet. Like they always wanted to fight people and create wars. And even Pre Vizsla was talking about how they got the Darksaber from the first like Mandalorian Jedi, and he like stole it from them or something. Like just a lot of drama, a lot of bad history.
I don't think they care about Mandalore, but I think they would care about the Imperial presence on Mandalore.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it is crazy.
We've been saying this for a while, though. The moment we all saw the Darksaber, I think we all knew, oh yeah, they're going to Mandalore, and there's going to be an issue with who's going to be the Mandalore. And when you look at Din Djarin's character, what am I? He thought he knew what a Mandalorian was, and then Bo-Katan told him different, and then you got Boba Fett, which is even something different, and there's all this open-ended, like he's having an identity crisis, and he's going to find out he's going to be in the middle of it, and you're the leader right now. So that's going to be the issue. And he's going to give it up. He can't just give it up. Someone's going to beat him, and he'll be happy to be beaten to give him the Darksaber, because he's not going to stay there as Mandalore. I don't think that's his path at the end of the day.
Oh, well, I don't think it's going to be Bo-Katan who beats him. It seems like she's kind of taking the back seat of like almost a anti-hero kind of character. I mean, she started off as a villain, kind of became good and Rebels and all that, and now, I mean, she's pretty resilient against Din Djarin. She's not happy with what he did. So
not only that, we found out that the Mandalorians that the cult that Din was part of was the Death Watch. So
yeah, but that's
what
also
she used to be part of is what he's at.
He has conflict with Bo-Katan now, who's not going to be on his side. She clearly wants the Darksaber, which is weird because I thought she already fucking gave it up to Sabine. But then we have
Sabine gave it up to her.
The armor.
Sabine gave it up to her.
Oh, okay. I had it reversed. But then the armorer is also probably going to be in season 3, and she's probably going to answer the call, and that's going to be a little conflicting for Din Djarin. So I'm really curious on how he's going to balance these two opposing views on Mandalorian culture and either bring it together or find a new way. Like he always says this is the way, but like what the fuck is that now? Like, does he actually even know what the Mandalorian creed is or should be anymore? Going back to Mandalore and becoming Mandalore.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of served as a Aragorn or Jon Snow type character, where he's a reluctant leader, but he's the best leader, and then he ends up just becoming the leader.
Well,
Not
that's
the hero we deserve,
that's the whole old phrase, right? The
Yeah.
whole old phrase is the best leaders are the ones that don't want to be the leader.
Exactly. So I can see him. I can see him ruling Mandalore, even though he might not want to.
Yeah.
And to what Game Guy's saying too, he's like, I don't want them to make Bo-Katan a villain again. You can, I mean, the way Mandalore is so complicated with its political structure and its ideologies that she could still be diametrically opposed to a faction or diametrically opposed to Din, but doesn't necessarily make her a villain. It's an antagonist, but that's the thing people understand. The word antagonist doesn't always mean villain. It just means opposing to the protagonist.
Right, yeah.
I really hope they can go the Game of Thrones route with the Mandalorians and have a like political edge to it. You know, we always talk about Star Wars being like political and whatnot, and I feel like Game of Thrones, at least those first 5 seasons, made the politics aspect of it very interesting, and I think that would be a very nice addition to Star Wars, and mainly starting it out with like a warrior-like clan like the Mandalorians. It wouldn't be a bad idea, but I'm not sure if
And Mandalore is custom made for that because it's always had political strife and it's always had. I mean, they're a culture that you.
Too.
I don't think they'd go too much into politics though. I mean, there's not that much screen time in each of the seasons of the Mandalorian. I mean, if you were to just take all the episodes, they would be 4 hours long. Like, each season of Mandalorian is about 4 hours if you get rid of the credits. And I feel like that's not that much time to, if they were going to do some serious political shit. They might type into it a little bit, but considering Din Djarin's the main character and he barely knows anything.
But if it spins off to a Bo-Katan show, that will carry.
Oh God, yeah. Well, I mean, wasn't that a rumor that her and Cara Dune were going to have their own spin-off series?
Oh, Cara Dune get her own.
I remember that.
And Sasha and the WWE broad Sasha.
Sasha Banks. She's not even coming back for next season. She came out and said that she won't be in season 3.
Yeah,
she'll be in a Bo-Katan series.
How that makes sense?
She's too busy filming that. Oh man,
maybe her and the other guy, the dude Mandalorian that was with her in Bo-Katan. They take turns switching who gets to be the side because he was not in the season finale for some reason. Like, it was very odd that he was just missing, and I guess now she's gonna be missing.
They're busy.
All right, so last topic. This one's kind of unique because I know you guys who are watching or listening do not know this, but Lunga and Palpatine's have already been debating this. So this new book called The Secrets of the Sith, I have it, Palpatine's has it right there. There's a part that it kind of, can we say retcon? Does it retcon the Rule of Two as we know it?
Yes,
it does.
Definitely.
So basically what it says is, in this, Palpatine explains that the Rule of Two, at least the way it was originally made by Darth Bane in the expanded universe, in the novels by Drew Carpentier, he explained the Rule of Two as the Sith were fighting nonstop, and eventually they wanted to Bane realized the best way to do things was not to have a lot of Sith, have 2 Sith, one to embody the power and one to crave it. And the apprentice would kill the master, and the only reason they could kill the master is if they became more powerful than the master, and thus every apprentice would become more powerful than the master, and it would result in someone like Darth Sidious, who is considered one of the greatest, if not the greatest Sith of all time, the most powerful. In this new book,
Revan!
No, yeah, fuck Revan. Another debate for another day, god damn it. But whatchamacallit, Palpatine goes on to say that in this version, in the new canon for Disney, the Rule 2 was created to mimic the Dyad of the Force, which is what we know of Rey and Kylo Ren, and a lot of us are assuming Darth Revan and Bastila Shan in the Knights of the Republic. So Palpatine specifically says that Plagueis tried to make the Dyad of the Force with him and Sidious. Sidious tried to make it with yeah, Palpatine, read it. If I can you read it right there? I don't think I can find the page.
Yeah, which I think I'm on it. The broken bonds of the Dyad is an elusive connection, one that cannot be created through will alone. He said, "My master Darth Plagueis attempted to forge such a bond with me. Though he was wise in the ways of the Force, he proved unworthy of the task." I'm not seeing where the rule of two part is at. Do you know where that's at in the book?
It's going to be on the left. So it says, for millennium, the Sith have adhered to the rule of two, but this decree is said to merely be a pale imitation to its predecessor, doctrine of the Dyad. Legends claim that two beings sharing this profound connection gain access to a great number of abilities, skills beyond the grasp of even the most powerful Force wielder. Members of the Dyad were believed to be capable of transferring their life force to heal others. Some could even pass physical objects through time and space in an instant. If two Sith were bonded so deeply as to transcend their physiological beings, their power could, the power they could unlock together would have no limits, or would no limits.
The whole point of Rule 2 is killing your teacher. How are they going to have that deep of a bond?
Well, because,
the whole point is to kill your teacher.
Lunga, to be fair, every single motherfucker who practiced the Rule of Two didn't actually practice the Rule of Two.
Darth Bane, they had their own.
Darth Bane wanted to
apprentices.
he had a different apprentice. Darth Tenebrous had a separate apprentice. Darth Venomous, Darth Plagueis brought Insidious, told him to train Maul, and even Plagueis said, "I don't want you to kill me. I want us to be equals." So that's why it makes sense for him trying to do the Force Dyad. I don't mind that. I honestly don't know if I like them. Maybe it's because I love the Darth Bane story so much. I don't know if I like them retconning the Rule of Two like this. I'm completely fine with the Rule of Two being its own thing for the Sith specifically, and the Dyad of the Force, doctrine of the Dyad is what they're calling it, be its own thing. You know, like they don't have to cross over. What do you got to say about me?
Could you not just have it be an extension on what happened because of the Rule of Two? So say the Rule of Two started off as we see with Darth Bane and everything, and as the two Sith, because we know about the Force, and it's kind of spaced out between all the Sith and everything. So there's only two. The power levels are much stronger between those two compared to there's 1,000 Sith, right? That's kind of what we know. So could it not be? And this is how I would do it personally. You could have it both ways work really well with each other. Is it started out as what we know already with Darth Bane and everything, but as they grew stronger, they started to realize maybe we can create this connection together. Maybe this is possible, and we all know the Sith, especially people like Palpatine and Plagueis and all of them, all they work for is to try and figure out a way to cheat death to live, infinite life. And so I think it'd be really cool if they do it that way, where it started out as this Darth Bane idea, and then as they grew stronger, started learning more because of their power. Then they're like, holy cow, maybe we can create this dyad between each other. Maybe we can get so powerful that we can create this bond. And then what happens? Right? I think that'd be the best way to do it.
Okay.
It seems like
I gotta go off. I gotta go off before it's fresh in my head, because it's gonna. Okay.
Please do.
Number one, why can't the Sith come up with something without it always being an imitation of the Jedi? Okay. Now let me say something about. I hate the Rule of Two. I really don't like Darth Bane that much. I think it was silly to handicap your villains for 1,000 years that way. I think it's silly. If they made it a little shorter, maybe that would make more sense, but I think it's silly. However, it cheapens the Sith. It cheapens the ingenuity and intelligence of the Sith. It cheapens a 1,000-year program that culminated with Palpatine to take over the galaxy, to become as powerful as it is. It cheapens it by adding this. If you want to keep the Dyad, keep the Dyad. Just make it its own thing with them. It doesn't have to be a part of the Sith. It doesn't have to be Sith trying to copy something. It's a pale imitation. Well, that pale imitation took over the fucking galaxy.
Well, I don't know if it's actually an imitation of the Jedi itself. I think he's saying in this book that the Rule of Two it's a pale imitation of the doctrine of the Dyad, and it seems like the Dyad was something that was in Exegol. It was written thousands of that. So it looks like the doctrine of the Dyad came first, and then the Rule of Two came. Because also in normal canon and even in the expanded universe, it was Darth Revan, and then later, thousands of years, we had Darth Bane. So it kind of makes sense in that sense. But I do not like the idea of them taking the Rule of Two and Bane going, okay, I need to do this to copy the Dyad instead of trying. Because I disagree with your assessment on the Rule of Two. I agree. I don't like the Rule of Two. But I think ultimately it did work, and the way Bane explains it and the way he goes about it, I actually do like, because it does serve the Sith. I like the idea of the Sith being powerful and destroying the Jedi off of pure power. But he says that the Sith we deceive. We're thieves, mischief, and so he rules all the Sith rule through the backgrounds through like assassins and bounty hunters and money, and they influence politics. So I like that aspect of it. I don't like that it's copying this dyad thing, because then it's like, well, why the fuck didn't you just follow the dyad? And why did all the Sith try to make a dyad? Like, what's the point of having?
What
Rule
about
2
the
if it's
fact
just
that
a
the
dyad?
Sith were a race before this? Tens of thousands of years ago, they were a race. They were a planet. They were actually beings called the Sith. It wasn't just a title. It just feels weird to me.
That's the expanded universe. But hit us, Golden. Hit us.
Because I have a semi different take. For one, I hate the Rule 2. For me, it just doesn't make logical sense. I understand that the way they explain it is that the Sith kept on fighting each other. So in order for that to stop happening, we'll just have two: a master to hold the power and a apprentice to crave it. But for me, at least in the EU, the way the Sith always presented themselves was they're always very selfish. They want to do what's best for themselves. If that's the case, why would a master teach an apprentice all they know? To me, that doesn't make sense. But in the canon, the Sith is a little different. It seems like the way the canon has approached the Sith is that they kind of want to put the agenda of the Sith first over them being the most powerful person ever. Yes, Palpatine does want to be the most powerful person ever, but he wants the Sith to be the most powerful entity.
Sith rule.
Yes, that's why he says once more the Sith will rule the galaxy instead of once more I will rule the galaxy. Mm-hmm. That's how I always saw in the canon. So to me, now I understand, I don't really like any retcons, really. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. So I understand that the Rule 2 is one thing, and then adding the dyad changes that. I understand why people don't like it. But to me, it makes a little more sense that Palpatine would want to form a dyad with, say, Anakin or Plagueis, because if they could do that, then that would be the most powerful version of the Sith that they could make. So in that sense, it makes sense. It also
it takes away individuality for the end of Sith.
Well, also remember real quick, this book, like canonically, this book is narrated and written by Palpatine himself. So everything that's said in here is coming directly from Palpatine. So it's not just like
it's coming from directly from a writer who's writing the new Palpatine.
Well, why? But you see what I'm saying, right? It's coming straight. Technically, come on.
So, going back to Palpatine, new Sith, I could be wrong because I'm not a big EU expert, but this is what I believe I know, is that Palpatine, yes, he always had these apprentices, but he would always try to replace them. But it feels like in the canon, Palpatine wants Anakin to be the best version of himself that he can be, and then once he's Vader, he's always kind of testing Anakin to see if he still could be that great apprentice. And then once he realizes he's not, because he's kind of wavering, he's like, okay, Luke could be better. Luke is better for the Sith agenda, so let me have Luke instead of Vader. And then it kind of plays a little bit into the Rise of Skywalker, where he's like, my soul will pass into you, thus preserving the Sith legacy as opposed to my own personal legacy. And then once he realizes they're a dyad, he's like, oh, screw you, I can do this myself. So that's how
life itself. Well, it literally it creates life, and that's what the Sith would want. How much power would they get from that?
So in that sense, I understand the Rule 2 a little bit more. It's that if there's just two people, then the Sith can be at its most powerful with just two people who respect each other, as opposed to a bunch of other Sith. And the apprentice will always still try to kill the master. That's why the master isn't going to teach the apprentice everything they know, which is what Plagueis did to Palpatine, which is still weird. I still don't like the Rule of 2. I just think it's weird. Why would you want to kill off your whole organization? Just tell people to stop killing each other? But I know it's not that simple, but
it's coalescing the power into very few hands. I mean, it does take away the bureaucracy. Let's put it that way. It does take away the bureaucry.
If you read the Darth Bane novels, it does make sense, because the Brotherhood of Darkness got rid of the Darth name, and they also didn't let people really study the ancient Sith. And Bane clearly got a lot more powerful studying the ancient Sith and just doing a lot of different things and just studying Sith alchemy and the dark arts and whatnot. He remembered a thing called the Thought Bomb, and that literally killed.
As of right now, that is also EU too. It's still not really canon.
So. Yeah, that entire story arc is not what we don't really know. Literally, all we know is what happened with Bane in the Clone Wars season 6, and now from this book, and it just basically says that he makes the Rule of 2. So we still have that. I feel like for me, one of the things I really don't like about this dyad of the Force thing is that they talk about Plagueis trying to make that with Palpatine, and Palpatine trying to make that with Vader. So how the fuck did it get made with Rey and Kylo? Because
they were natural. It was a natural born. They were born into.
They
it.
weren't looking for it. They discovered it.
It was born into it. But like ever since, I mean, it's canon that since they were born, this connection was there. Since Kylo was born, then or Ben was born, then Rey was born. That connection, that bond, was always there because the Sith, the dark side. We all know this is a broken vessel of the Force, right? The Force is the balance of the Force, at least according to George Lucas and canon. The balance of the Force is a light side because any dark side in the Force is breaking that balance of what the Force really is. And so with Ben and Rey, it wasn't something they tried to make. It was a natural connection. The Sith and stuff, they try to force that unnatural connection, trying to force this power into them. So.
And to be fair, the way the dark side works, like we've talked about, you mentioned Star Wars only about how Dave always had other apprentices. There is a little difference. If you notice, it's like the elite get like promoted up to Sith Lords. Okay, so everyone else are just dark side users, and the key to it is to find people who are loyal but don't have that ambition that an apprentice would have. There was a lot of Inquisitors and a lot of stuff that they were just good soldiers. It wasn't necessarily about it, ambition to become a Sith Lord or become, a Sith Master. They just liked the power that they had, and they were loyal to their masters. And I think like the problem we had with Ventress was she was too ambitious, and that's why, like Palpatine said, you need.
Well, yeah, and he mentions that in this book of it is breaking the rule too, but it was Palpatine realizing that Darth Tyrannus, Count Dooku, was getting apprentices that were becoming powerful, and Dooku wasn't doing this just to serve Palpatine. He was doing it to serve Palpatine, but also usurp him and take his place. So it seems like that rule of two mindset is always going to be there for the Sith. And I think it is infuriating as a reader, as a viewer, because it makes me look at the Sith and go, you guys are stupid. Like, come on, like we can do better than this. But they're the villains, and it does make sense. And they're supposed to be cool, but they're also supposed to be flawed. And this is what's going to lead them down the road of never defeating the Jedi or never defeating the light side truly, is because of things like the role to their greed and all that. But I feel like if we get it into the dyad of the Force, and that's what they base everything on, it makes no sense to me that the Sith know about this and strive for this, but the Jedi don't. Like I don't think the Jedi have ever mentioned the dyad, or it doesn't seem like
the Jedi don't like doing anything that's not natural.
Right,
and Jedi don't like
there's a lot of dogma. We've seen it over and over again. There's a lot of dogma in the Jedi Order, things that could actually be helpful. Like the Force Ghost, for example. No one knew about the Force. Yoda didn't know about it.
Right.
Qui-Gon had to tell him. I mean, and that's in George Lucas's movies. We're not even talking about EU or anything else. There's things that they didn't know that they figured out, and there's a lot of things that could be lost. Just I look at it this way: just like the Bible, there was hundreds and hundreds of books, right, that compromised the Bible, and then one day these religious people got together and said they had this Council of Nicaea, and we're going to decide what goes in this book and what doesn't. And they tossed out a bunch of shit and kept what they thought was pure Christianity in the book. And that's what I feel Jedi did, is that they tossed out a bunch of stuff and it's like, no, this stuff is all bad because it could potentially lead to the dark side. And it became uber dogmatic, and like we got to avoid all of that because it's dangerous. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what happened with this situation. And to be fair too, I actually didn't have a problem with the dyad itself. I'm like, that's an interesting idea. I'm cool with discovering new Force abilities. I'm okay with that because, like I said, we saw that in the prequels. They discovered a new Force ability. They explained the Force Ghost was a new Force ability. It wasn't something that they knew how to do.
The Chosen
I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm okay with the idea of a dyad or how they worked it. It could have been written better, but I'm okay with it. Mm-hmm. I just think it's silly to cheapen the rule of two by applying it. Like, why can't the rule of two just be its own thing? Why does it have to be, they got this idea from the dyad when the dyad never existed until the sequel? It just, keep them separate. Let the Sith be the Sith. It doesn't have to be inspired by the dyad. I tend to agree with you.
Even though to me,
I absolutely agree.
To me, from a logical perspective, it makes somewhat more sense that the Sith would want to base their rule of two off of what could be the most powerful bond in the Force. But I understand, like, the prequels are the prequels. Yeah, there's certain things we can recontextualize here and there, but let's keep the main stuff. It's the biggest reason why I don't like the Chosen One prophecy at all, because when the originals came out, Anakin killed Palpatine to save his son. That was it. He wanted to save his son. There was no fulfilling a prophecy of destroying the Sith. So now that the prequels have the prophecy and the sequels have Palpatine coming back, they're like, it ruins Vader's defeating Palpatine, even though when Vader initially defeated Palpatine, there was no Chosen One prophecy. So I'm not a big fan of them really recontextualizing the movies from future movies. And any sense.
Well, one could be saying saving his son requires the destroying of the Sith, and saving the galaxy. You need to require saving the galaxy is required to save his son.
The thing is, I feel like the biggest problem that people have with Palpatine's return is that now Anakin didn't fulfill the prophecy because he didn't destroy the Sith. If that was never there, I don't think people would necessarily care. Because in that moment, Vader, at least I think most people see it this way, Vader is saving his son more so than he is directly trying to kill the Emperor.
Yeah. His pure inspiration at that moment was to save his son. But that doesn't go. Prophecy is weird, right? In any kind of story that has prophecy in it through time and memorable fiction or stuff that's applied to what people consider religion in real life. A lot of times prophecy is very hazy and your actions, even if your action isn't to say, I need to fulfill this prophecy, your actions, regardless of their motive, is what leads to fulfilling that prophecy. So,
yes. Yeah. Well, I think Goldman makes a good point of like it seeming like a retcon on top of a retcon because like in terms of release, original trilogy, nothing about the Chosen One. Prequel trilogy, it made it, oh no, he fulfilled that destiny as the Chosen One. That's what he was supposed to do. That's how it always was supposed to happen. Then you get to the sequels and Palpatine's back, so it's like, well, what the fuck is he actually, like, honestly, legitimately, can we even consider Anakin the Chosen One anymore? Because everyone kind of said he is, but he didn't defeat the Sith. So is Rey the Chosen One? Is it Luke? I mean, there's
balance was still brought to the Force though for a certain time.
Yeah, for like 30,
for 20 years,
30, 20 years. But is it really balance if Palpatine is still out and about doing his thing? Like, was that truly balanced? Like, even that is hard to quantify. Like, what do you define as balance?
Defeating the Sith and balancing the Force led to that had to happen for what we saw in the sequels. I know I sound like a sequel apologist, but that had to happen. That prophecy had to be fulfilled to get to the point that we happened because Palpatine was also meant to come back and it was also meant to happen. And if Anakin didn't do that, the whole situation we got to finally getting rid of them wouldn't have happened. But it's again, the whole idea is weird because did we really believe after Return of the Jedi we were never going to see the Sith again?
That's the biggest reason why I hate the
my problem with
so
it.
Much.
It's not well. That's why I like the idea. And there's that one line. I know this is going to be a real headcanon thing, and I've made posts about this and stuff. I've always liked the idea of the Chosen One not being just Anakin. I've always liked it that the Force chooses multiple people throughout time to bring this balance back to the light side of the Force. As we heard in Revenge of the Sith, misread the prophecy may have been. I know in canon it seems like the prophecy was read correctly, but I do like the idea that there was some misreads there and there was some misinformation there. And so what do we see in A New Hope? We see Luke just so happen to get destroyed, that R2, so that the message from Leia can be sent to him so he can blah, 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 blah. It all happened because of that chance, right? Sent by the Force. The reason is the Force. What happens in the sequels? We got Rey. We have this BB-8 droid. Oh my gosh, everything happens by chance. She meets Finn, then she meets Han Solo, which eventually leads her, blah, 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 to Luke Skywalker. So I like the idea that everything has to happen in this order through different people because the Force runs through people, right? So it needs these people for this destiny. And so having just one person to do it all, I think it'd work better if it's like, no, there's multiple people who were chosen by the Force. I understand Anakin's going to be the most powerful because he was born of the Force and everything. And I'm okay with that. But I think it still works having multiple people because when you think about it, if this didn't happen, then this wouldn't happen. Then Rey wouldn't have eventually defeated Palpatine. And you can go backwards and say the exact same things. It's a domino effect and everything needs to line up with these three people, Luke, Anakin, and Rey, in order for true balance to happen. And so that's just kind of how I've always seen it.
And a non-Skywalker, yeah.
You see this? This cost me $20.
It's spelled wrong. It's supposed to end in an AH.
This is actually my new merch, by the way. Buy my merch.
I appreciate your trolling, Lunga. Even though I disagree, I appreciate it.
You know what, Lunga? Watch my essay video.
He keeps saying that. If I wanted to know how wrong you were, I'd watch it.
Fine, and then you can watch it, and you can mock me for the rest of our lives. All right, I give you that permission.
It's good stuff. It makes for intriguing conversation, pal.
It does.
So Star Wars has reached this weird point to me where it feels like we're always trying to explain something that doesn't really make sense because it is Star Wars, and it just keeps piling on top of each other.
When in doubt, I wish they just didn't explain the Force.
Like Goldman said too, because it's like even in George Lucas's own movies, it's like something wasn't mentioned that he just created new canon to explain something that he already talked about.
How many things did that dude retcon throughout his movies? Right. I mean, the Force itself was completely changed in Empire Strikes Back when Luke Skywalker lifted the lightsaber with his hand through the Force. Like, completely like, wait, what? Now it's a physical thing, not just a mystical thing. There's more to it.
I mean, Vader could choke. the guy in episode 4.
That's true. Never mind.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
definitely
That
changed
was
when he saw
considered
in the
dark
prequels
side.
though. In the
Lightning.
prequels,
But
Force lightning.
every movie, every of the 9 main movies, I believe, has added something new to the Force, except for maybe Revenge of the Sith.
Attack of the Clones added the Force lightning projection thing that
Let's
Yoda
go
does.
through it real quick.
So episode 4 introduced the Force. Episode 5, you could levitate things. Episode 6, you could shoot lightning.
Mhm.
Episode 1,
Force run, speed run.
the Force
fuck
run. I
you.
feel like
Fuck
there's
you.
more.
No.
There has to be something else. Well, there's Midichlorians and the Chosen One prophecy as a
Yeah.
whole.
Okay, yeah.
Episode 2,
Yoda lightning. Yoda lightning.
I guess you can.
Yeah, telekinesis or not telekinesis. What the fuck is it called? Is it telepathy or
I don't know, but you can absorb lightning and shoot
Being
it back.
able to guide how they fall and landing softly, with that
Yeah.
that we pretty much saw in the first, kind of
Revenge
in
of the Sith
episode
would be
1.
I guess you could say like
the way to live, the dark side, the Plagueis thing.
yeah, the way to cheat death, or
Yeah.
or
Seven.
the visions maybe. Episode 7, there's a lot of things. You know, you could stop the blaster bolts, hold people in place. Episode 8, Luke did his-
Which was one of the greatest force power things I saw. Stopping blaster bolts, I thought was spectacular. When I saw
No,
that
it
in the
was great.
Force
It was great
Awakens,
in the beginning
was
of the
like,
film too.
oh shit! I was like, that was awesome. I did enjoy that.
Episode 8,
Two
they
teams.
had Luke's force projection. Episode 9, I mean, they had like force drain, although that was kind of in the canon.
Yeah, the whole
and
dyad.
the dyad. Well, that was more so technically introduced in episode.
Well, then
8.
you also have the Force ghosts and the whole energy thing.
And if you want, you can say Rogue One introduced being able to see with the Force, all being blind. What came first, Kanan being blind or Rogue One?
Rom Coda, you insensitive motherfucker.
I'll take it. In the
You
canon.
could ever disrespect my boy. I've been playing the Force Unleashed game just to remind myself how awful the controls of that
Oh,
game
and
were.
as far as prophecy, I think you've read it, Star Wars only. Yeah, but Master and Apprentice with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, you really see, you know, how unsure everyone really was about this prophecy, and even Qui-Gon wasn't completely sold on it the way Dooku was. And then when Qui-Gon started getting deep into it, Dooku was like, maybe you shouldn't be that deep into it. And they keep going back and forth to where it still could be really misunderstood. And we, to this
Would you
day,
like that?
we might
Would you
not
like that in the
know
story?
what that prophecy really was meant to be.
Would it be a bad idea for like eventually someone, I don't know how or where, like really get into the creation of the prophecy? Maybe we tell a story from the timeline of the Acolyte or thousands of years before that, like some Jedi or Sith goes through the prophecy and what Yoda said is true, that it was misread or something like that. Like something like was slightly off, where like the Jedi interpreted it as, oh, there's going to be this Jedi who like, fucking brings balance to the Force and whatnot. But then it turns out to actually be like they read it and it says, no, like this, he will destroy everything, like Jedi and Sith alike. Like
And all the
I would love
prophecy
that.
is someone seeing the future, which Yoda warns the future, visions
Vision
of the
is
future
flawed. Yeah.
Mhm.
are flawed. And we're
Especially when you
seeing it in the
got
High
Sith in the
Republic
cross,
too, right? Elzar Man and what's going on with him. We're seeing how his visions, he's seeing what he's supposed to, but he might be messing shit up more than he's helping.
No, it's actually it's the thing. Every time someone has a vision of the future, it always happens, or the character trying to stop that vision ends up indirectly
Self-fulfilling.
causing it. Same, Anakin did that in Revenge of the Sith, and in a sense, Luke kind of did it. He had a vision of Kylo Ren turning the dark
Mhm.
side. He picked up his lightsaber, and that's what caused Kylo Ren to turn to the dark side,
hmm
even though he did it unintentionally.
That's why I think we're going to see Dark Ray again.
oh, fuck me, come on.
Just saying.
Yeah,
Just saying.
Have Dark Ray face off against Darth Jar Jar and let Darth Jar Jar win.
Look, there's even a new picture of it. Look at that.
If they kill Rey off,
It's
Jesus.
pretty epic. There's her parents. Hey, this book is awesome. I don't care.
What are
And we
we
got
got Army Saber?
I will admit,
Pickle Snoke.
the book is good.
One of my favorite things about this podcast is when like Poppins will say something, and then one of you guys just go, "Oh fuck off!" Oh, fuck
Like,
this.
screw you, man. Who invited you? I'm a simp, okay? For my girl Ray, I'm a simp, and at least I admit it, all right?
Well,
I mean, I'll say I'm all on board for Daisy Ridley. I mean, she's beautiful,
she's fine.
beautiful woman. Doesn't mean her character is great.
Hey,
just
after
she's
she
beautiful.
killed that guy with her car, I don't know if I want her back in Star Wars.
I remember I saw that video pop up on my feed. I was like, Star Wars, what the fuck's wrong?
The memes that came out of that were so funny.
Oh, they were great.
Dude, that whole Twitter thing, that was interesting.
It's like Daisy Ridley's driving a car, not so easy without a co-pilot. There's some funny shit like that.
Or the
How long ago was this? Did she really have her license? That's the question.
Yeah, well, it reminded me of that. I don't know, it's a tragic thing to talk about, but when Jake Lloyd was in that high speed chase and people kept posting, this is pod racing,
dude. That's
that was funny.
I don't give a fuck, bro. I was in tears.
You guys know, you know Matt Lanner. Matt Lanner, you know Anakin in the Clone Wars. You know he shared a meme about that situation, right? He shared this like awful meme. It wasn't like awful. It was like, oh man, Anakin really did turn to the dark side or something. Like,
Lucasfilm,
so bad.
Lucasfilm should call Jake Lloyd and ask him to cameo in something. I mean, he's old enough now where he doesn't look like young Anakin anymore.
Is he still in jail?
No,
he's never been in jail. He's been in a psychiatric facility.
Yeah.
He has schizophrenia. So I do not think interviewing him would be the best thing. But he's been interviewed in the past.
Seen it. He seems he's always on edge and stuff all the time. Yeah, it's a very sad situation.
It's extremely tragic. He does have a lot of self awareness, though, which I can appreciate, and he can hold a conversation very well. I know people who know him, but I do not really want to touch that with a fucking 10-foot pole, honestly. Mm-hmm. But geez, I remember that one kid who said I was almost Anakin coming out with that thing not too long ago, and I bet you he watched that Jake Lloyd car crash thing or the high speed chase and was like,
I dodged a bullet.
Glad it wasn't me.
I mean, it's messed up though because everybody reacts to things differently. Obviously,
yeah. Some people would have been able to handle the bullying and everything that happened.
And that's not saying he's weak for not being able to.
No, please don't.
Don't take words that way. I don't know.
I'm not saying.
No, I'm saying to the audience. Yeah,
like, audience can misconstrue things very easily.
I'm saying here. Yeah, no. It's a very sad situation and stuff, and yeah. But.
Well, he shouldn't have been in the prequels. I'm playing.
Well, at least he's not getting his lightsaber polished on Instagram.
His parents that signed the contract for him. Did he have any say on this?
I mean, probably. If he was like, "Hey, I don't want to do this movie," I'm sure they wouldn't have made him do it. But you got to think this is back in fucking. He was casted probably in like 97, 96. So probably around 97 because it was the time of like Star Wars. If you get cast in that, I mean, you're set for life. Look at fucking Daisy Ridley and all the people we have now. Imagine doing that at fucking 9 years old. It's I'd want to do it as a kid. Who the fuck wouldn't?
Do it now. I don't care.
But we've seen what it's done to careers. We saw what it did to Ahmed Best. We've seen what it did to who we're just talking about. We've seen what it did to Hayden. We've seen what it's done to a lot of people.
Well, even Daisy Ridley, who's like obviously a great actress, she's kind of, I wouldn't say struggling because she has plenty of projects, but she's not seeming to be anything insanely huge unless she plays Spider-Woman, which
I know what cursed it. Alec Guinness is what cursed them all.
Yeah.
No. You know,
yes.
I'm going to be honest.
Because he would get pissed anytime anyone would talk about Star Wars. Why are you talking to me about this stupid movie?
Okay. I think that is not only overblown. I really think a lot of these people ended up shooting themselves in the foot. Like Ahmed Best, that was an extremely sad situation. Most people hated his character, but like, come on. Like, if I feel like anybody, like looking back now, we can all look and be like, that was a really poor idea. But I don't know. I feel like it wasn't really surprising that Jar Jar wasn't well received. But like Alec Guinness, he didn't. I don't think he hated Star Wars that much. He talked very positively about it in certain interviews and whatnot. He wanted to be remembered for other things. But like Harrison Ford had a great career after Star Wars. Mark Hamill did.
Fuck is the Force?
Natalie Portman said that Star Wars almost killed her career, but I don't think that's because of her character or anything. Well, actually, it was because of her character. It was because of the movies that she was in. So I feel like a lot of these actors like expect the world when it comes to Star Wars, like everything's just going to open up. But it's really hard because people only see you as that character, and it's on you to break out of that. And a lot of that goes to your approach. Like I think out of the three that we've had recently, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, and Daisy Ridley, I think Oscar Isaac has done the best in terms of his work.
Oh, definitely. He's in everything now.
Yeah, like he really used that to propel him to a certain level of fame. I don't see Daisy Ridley really doing that. I think she's kind of, I don't know.
She was never, I don't know what Oscar was in before Force Awakens, but Daisy
Oscar,
was
he
still
was in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Daisy
in
was
a
always a
lot of
very
stuff.
low. She's kind of like the Mark Hamill. She's not really known to other
If
things and stuff. And then
Yeah, but Oscar Isaac was actually the only person, if you think about it, who wasn't a Homer. He was kind of the Harrison Ford, right? If you think about it, it was just like people. Every time people would ask him a question about it, he would make a smart comment. Yeah, if I need another house, he would just say these things. He's like, man, I'm an actor. I'm moving on to the next thing. I don't care. Yeah, it was cool. It was fun. And then he makes it light. Everything that we talk about Star Wars is all very, very light and not serious. And it's like, whatever. It's a movie.
Yeah,
but
didn't he like? I feel like he gave the best performance out of the three, though. Even though his character probably wasn't the best, it really felt like after the Force Awakens, everybody was like, "Oh, Daisy Ridley's going to be like a huge star." But then like Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker came out, and it looked like when it came to like her acting or her trying in the role, like it's like she mentally checked out and just didn't really care. At least as someone who was watching.
Well, Poe also became a tragic figure in the certain segments of the Star Wars fandom, to where it's like, can you believe they treated him like that? Hold on, just talk down to him. And he was the first Gina Carano, right? That's basically what it was. But he didn't say anything publicly.
But even the Gina Carano thing, like with her relationship with Star Wars, people were going to be like, oh, well, Star Wars did her dirty. It's like, no, she did herself dirty. So I feel like a lot of these actors, like they do this to themselves, and then like people are like, oh, it's Star Wars, or it's the fandom, or it's the reaction we had to them. It's like, no,
it's honestly kind of 50-50. Like there's a lot of actors that don't have a career, but there's a lot that do. I mean, look at Adam Driver. His career is absolutely exploded.
Exactly. And
how many interviews has he done about Star Wars? He doesn't talk about Star Wars.
Dude, even if you look at like The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker press tours, he's barely in anything. Like he'll do like one interview here and there. In The Rise of Skywalker, if you look at like all the Star Wars Celebration stuff, all of the like Galaxy's Edge stores, Adam Driver's never there. He's like, he sees Star Wars.
Nobody,
as like
him, his people. No one even came out and said when people were harassing his wife, when the Reylos were harassing his wife and shit. They didn't even say nothing about that. It just move on. I'm an actor. I got a big career. I don't care.
Well, why do you guys think he did so well? Because it really did seem like from the get-go of like making these new movies, he was like above everybody else. Like Daisy was probably going to be a bigger star than he was. Like Finn being at the time potentially the first black lead in Star Wars, like all that stuff was a big deal. Adam Driver, the villain, this fucking white guy who like doesn't meet the diversity quota these days. Like he's the one who made it the best.
Heir to Darth Vader.
That's not why. That's not why.
Yes,
no,
it is why. He's the heir to Darth Vader.
I think
but Hayden Christensen was Darth Vader, and he didn't have anything remotely like Adam Driver.
Well, it's because Adam
Driver's an actual good actor.
Adam Driver
You're going to say that now? After
Adam Driver was tasked with the hardest character to play in the sequels. I mean, in terms of actual emotion, you needed the most out of Kylo Ren compared to any of the other characters. Mm-hmm. And Adam Driver not only like met those bars, but he exceeded them. So that's probably
why it was the highlight of the sequel trilogy. Kylo Ren was actually a good character and a well-acted character.
You'd be pressed to find someone who says that Adam Driver is not the best actor out of the new cast of the sequels.
Exactly, but that goes to my point of like some of these actors dictating their own futures, even by their roles in Star Wars. Like I feel like when you look back, Adam Driver, Harrison Ford, and Ewan McGregor, all three, despite not even having like the lead roles in their movies, gave it their fucking all. And like reap the rewards for years after. I mean, these are the guys when I think of like who really broke out and stand above their peers in the Star Wars movies. Those are the guys who did it.
Well, that goes to work ethic, though, right? That goes to work ethic at that point.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean the character or the movie; it's the work ethic of the actor.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think it's fair to blame Star Wars for some of these other actors, mishaps in life and whatnot. Like Jake Lloyd.
It's not purely Star Wars. No, I mean they still have some agency. I mean,
I don't think Star Wars did any favors for Hayden Christensen's career. They might have
but was that Star Wars' fault? It was his fault that he looked like a giant doofus as Anakin Skywalker. That wasn't Star Wars.
Was that not the direct? I can't say.
No, director. The director. Yeah. Yes, George Lucas could have directed him better. But here's the thing: the greatest director can only add so much to a person who does not have the talent. I mean,
that's why. That's the one thing where I'm really excited for this Kenobi show because I people are always like, no, Hayden is a great actor, just bad writing, and so I hope we see that fulfilled in the Kenobi show, and especially even with the Ahsoka, whenever he shows up in Ahsoka.
What did Hayden do before Attack?
He was in the Goosebumps.
I was about to say Goosebumps.
The Goosebumps episode.
That's yeah. I don't want to mess with that resume.
If you think about a lot of these franchises, how often do they have? Because Star Wars is notorious for having unknowns play the lead roles. There's not that many other franchises I feel like that do that. I mean, Marvel, all the characters are well-known actors. Pretty much.
I mean, Lord of the Rings when it first came out. I mean, a lot of
Mortensen wasn't really well known.
Most of them weren't. I think
Orlando Bloom was just getting started.
A lot of them haven't had.
Rhys Davies was the only one. He was a long-time actor in TV, movies, and stage.
I don't even know who the fuck that is.
Look at the Lord of the Rings.
He's the one who played Gimli.
Not many of the Lord of the Rings characters have had like breakout careers since then.
Well, they haven't needed to, but that was the thing is that like they're like those
Orlando Bloom.
So iconic.
A lot of them, not all of them.
Orlando Bloom took off.
Yeah,
and I mean Elijah Wood is Elijah Wood. He still had a good career after that.
Yeah, a lot of people have had good careers, but they have.
Elijah Wood, he did a lot after, even though they were kind of.
Yeah, he was in that Shark Boy and Lava Girl. That's right.
Oh, fuck, well.
Oh my gosh, no, that was Spy Kids. He's the guy. He's the chosen one. He's the guy. Oh my gosh. He's the false prophet of the chosen one.
You have Hugo Weaving. You have Ian McKellen. I mean, we're talking some big names here, dude. There was some big names in there.
Even fucking Count Dooku
was in that.
Count Dooku was in Lord of the Rings.
You're talking about old Ian McKellen and Christopher Lee are older established actors.
They were already pretty.
I'm talking about actors that weren't that well known compared to what they were after.
Yeah, but Viggo Mortensen did have a really good career after that.
So did a lot of them had good careers.
Orlando Bloom, and so did Elijah Wood, and those you could arguably say are some of the three at the top of the main cast.
Well, Andy Serkis got his breakout role in that too. True. That was a big one. He ended up becoming Snoke. So, yeah, it seems like these franchises are good for launching people's careers, but it's entirely up to them to actually propel themselves to the next level. So props to fucking Adam Driver and Oscar Isaac for doing it. Who do you guys think is going to come out on top between the two friends, John Boyega and Daisy Ridley? Who do you think is going?
He already is.
Okay.
He has like his own production.
I'll tell you why. He has more, from what I've noticed, there's more fire in his belly to do this.
I really feel like Daisy Ridley's going to go, I'm going to use quotation marks around this because it's going to sound negative and I don't mean it to.
Producing, directing.
I think no. I think she's going to go the easy route and just continue to do more Star Wars stuff. I think she will come back
for check.
Star Wars?
Yeah, I think she'll come back for a series or something. I'd be happy. I know you guys would, but I think she would because she would be like, you know what, like it would make her career not only like a little longer, it would give her more windows of opportunities to be like, okay, like I'll do a series for Star Wars for like 2 to 3 years, and then after that I'll go do something else. And like
I'm on board as long as she studies how to do a death scene and die. I'm on board.
Oh fuck
no, Daisy really she's actually done a lot of voice acting besides Star Wars.
Yeah, she's
done a few movies,
narrating mostly. Yeah,
she's done some narration. Apparently, she's voice acting in a video game coming up.
Yeah, it's already out.
I think she voice acted in like the Roger Rabbit movie.
No, she was going to. I think it got replaced by someone because she quit.
Well, I think she was in the first one, not the second.
Maybe it was the first one. Maybe that was it. It's something like that. Yeah.
I mean, what's it called? Mark Hamill had an excellent career as a voice actor.
It's Mark Hamill. Let's not compare Mark Hamill to Daisy Ridley, please.
No, I know.
He has.
I'm saying there's nothing wrong with going down that route of becoming a voice actor.
Oh no, voice actors are very exactly
honored.
Look at my boy D. Bradley Baker. He is like the lead of the Bad Batch, and every single scene, it is only him.
I don't know what that guy's check was every week. Voicing 7, however many characters.
She did a voice this year for the video game 12 Minutes.
Yeah.
She was wife.
Oh, great.
Like it's not even named. It was wife. That was.
Yeah, it's like some role play game or something like that. I don't know.
Only thing I've seen since Rise of Skywalker is she did a video game for the Dawn of Art. She was a narrator. Baba Yaga in a short. She was Magda in a Baba Yaga short. Another documentary short. She was a narrator for Asteroid Hunters. She was Viola in Chaos Walking. Then that voice at 12 Minutes. And that's all she's really. Everything else right now is in post-production.
Yeah, none of these sound like big paydays in like even the slightest. Like anything that's like you go to a theater and like you sit down to watch. I feel like Boyega and definitely Oscar Isaac, especially with him being in Dune and now he's going to be in Moonlight and all that. Like
Oscar Isaac's a superstar. Him and Adam Driver are like superstar actors. John Boyega, he's done a lot of indie films. since The Force Awakens.
Well,
I
he
can
has his
see
own
him going
production
to-
company.
Yeah,
The
I
whole
can see him-
Pacific Rim thing and stuff. And
Well, besides Pacific Rim, he hasn't done any other like blockbuster-esque movies. He's done a lot of indie films.
Yeah.
I think
but so was Robert Pattinson, and look what happened to him. Now he's the Batman.
Yeah, so I mean, again, the Rise of Skywalker came out less than 2 years ago, so it seems like forever ago. But
Yeah, it'll take a little while. I honestly, I think she's gonna go. Like I know you said, hitch her wagon to Star Wars. I really think I could see her, especially with the money she comes from and the family and the acting schools and all the money spent on her to try to get into this career. I could see her going the route of a Sofia Coppola, who sucked as an actress and becomes a director and wins Academy Awards as a director or a producer. I could see her.
You know what?
That
I'm not
10,
even
15 years down the road.
I don't want to say anything about her directing. I got a lot of shit from the Raylos for fucking I guess talking about shit that I heard about Daisy Ridley.
Dude, I had people DMing me saying, "Hey, can you talk to your friend?"
I felt so bad.
This is why I hate Twitter.
Yeah, I was like,
that one person blocked me, and I don't know if it was on purpose. Like it was like literally like a 30-paragraph thing, and I read it all, and then I was like, "Oh, I can't respond."
Jesus.
This is why I
How
don't
did
make
I
friends
do?
on- this is why I don't
Good
make
job,
friends on
good job,
Twitter.
only.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Nice.
I don't care enough about Ray or Daisy Ridley, but
I do.
I don't dislike her. I don't hate her.
I'm gonna make a Star Wars only hate burner account on Twitter.
She does have a producer credit from 2016, the Eagle Huntress documentary. She was an executive producer.
I think she voiced that, didn't she? She like that wasn't. Didn't she narrate that or something?
No, that was the
She-
asteroid one,
Yeah, that was the asteroid one.
or maybe it was.
Maybe she can voice a Star Wars documentary and tell us what actually happened with the sequels,
There you go.
and tell us about all the fun time she had with Ryan Johnson, JJ, and
Well, if there's anything, the cast does love JJ. If anything,
That's what's interesting. Yeah. That's
They've
a whole-
all-
I know it
they've
sounds like I
they-
hate Daisy Ridley, guys. I love her. I actually enjoy her. She could whisper in my ear all night long. I think she has a lot of capability to be a very good actress. The roles just haven't been there yet.
I think she's annoying. If I'm being honest.
Skywalker.
Where you at?
I don't
Yeah.
I don't really care about actors too much. I just want to see them play characters I like.
Yeah.
Is that mean of me to say? Like,
No,
No, not at all.
they're way above us.
like, I wish.
Samuel Jackson is how I feel about that. I can't stand listening to the guy like give any like real rational thoughts, but I love watching that motherfucker act. Like they're talk about a good actor.
I wish all these actors nothing but the best for their careers. But I'm not going to go see a movie just because Daisy
we got
Ridley's
two
in it.
Jokers. You look at Heath Ledger, and you look at Jared Leto. It's a character I love. Big difference in performance between the two.
We live in a society.
I wanna buy.
Isn't that right, Batman?
Good God, that ending to Injustice or not fucking the Zack
Injustice.
Snyder
Snyder
cut,
cut.
it was.
Dude, me and my brother, we were
Crap.
laughing. Like, look, he loves. That's like one of his favorite movies ever. The Snyder Cut. I thought it was good. I thought it was all right. We were literally laughing. I said, "It's the society scene," and then they didn't even have him say it. It was just for a freaking promotional trailer. I was so disappointed. I was like, "What was the whole point?"
I hate the era that we're in that people genuinely believe that Zack Snyder is a quality like director and storyteller.
He can fix the prequels.
I should clip
He
that
did
post
shit.
on Twitter. God,
Did
a lot
you
of
guys
people-
see Army of the Dead where he literally had a
No.
dead pixel for like a third of the fucking movie? and like most, he did like he was the director of photography.
I didn't pay attention because it was such a bad movie. And I like Zack Snyder. I'm not like on your end. I like Zack Snyder. I love Sucker Punch. I thought Sucker Punch was great. I love 300. I love Watchmen. I mean, he's done some really, and I really love the Snyder Cut. I did, but
We just
he's a better director than George Lucas. I'm sorry, Star Wars only. He's a better director than George Lucas.
You get the fuck out of here.
I'm not talking about storyteller. He's
we
a
need
better
more
director
grade A
than
directors
George
like Ryan
Lucas.
Johnson in Star Wars.
Director, sure. Writer, probably not. I don't know if I agree with who the better director is between Lucas and Snyder. That's kind of hard for me to think about because
Yeah, because you're a homer.
Lucas.
you're right, I am.
No, I give the edge to Zack Snyder.
I remember watching 300, all that like blood that was literally just like it looked like Kool-Aid. Like, it all came out thick and weird looking, and it was a bunch of
Well,
sex.
it was supposed to be a pastiche of the graphic novel. If you looked at the coloring and the filters he used, it was to make them look like they were right out of a graphic novel.
Oh, don't give me that artistic vision shit.
It's
all
the
right, it was
truth.
corny.
I'm sorry,
He's
but it
right.
is.
Look, I don't
Right.
want to be the biggest fan of that movie, but he is right.
Well, I'll take that he's right, but Zack Snyder's
Who would have thought me and Palpa memes would say each other's right?
He
Come
wasted
on.
my time with that shitty Man of Steel movie where like Superman's got to be all sad and serious, and then he
I
gave me
liked Man of
this.
Steel. That was a good movie.
I like Man of Steel too.
I
It's
didn't like
fine
BVS.
for what it is, but it like it's too much. The dark
BVS
take
had
on
a lot of
Superman was not done right. The boys did that a lot better with Homelander. That's the best way.
Well,
to
he
do
wasn't, but he wasn't supposed to be that. That was the whole thing. That he wasn't supposed to be that. He was just supposed to be someone struggling to find his identity because he wanted to be part of the world, be human just like everyone else. But at the same time, he has this responsibility and his power that his father told him not to.
Yeah, but I don't show up to these Superman movies to hear about his how he needs to feel related to the human population. I want this motherfucker coming in, Mr. America, saving the day, kicking Brainiac's ass. And instead, I got him looking at his dad, fucking 100 yards away, just giving him a wave of like, "No, you don't have to save me from this tornado."
Dude, okay, that part didn't make no
Heartless
sense when
bastard.
he lets the tornado take him.
Why don't I go to the fucking preacher at my local church to ask how to defeat Zod instead of my fucking father? Right?
Wow. No, I did have a problem with that. His father telling him not to save him and telling him not to show him. So that was the one part of the Man of Steel writing that I'm like, yeah, no, this is bad. This doesn't make any sense.
Warner Brothers is a bunch of idiots, not only for screwing over Zack Snyder, but having faith in the man to launch this DC universe or whatever.
And not shooting the second Dune already.
Seriously, that movie's spectacular. This is the best movie I have watched since Lord of the Rings. The cinematic experience of this movie has blown away anything I've watched since Return of the King.
Jeez, I hope you're right. I'm hearing good and bad
Of course
things.
I'm right.
I'm hoping. I've never seen Dune. I don't know anything about it,
What I've heard is that if you are a fan of the Dune lore, you're gonna love this movie. If not, it's up in the air.
Well, because there's still a lot of stuff. Because remember, it's a developing story.
Yeah.
And if you watch just this first part, and there's not a lot of action, and there's a lot of world building going on, to some people who are just general fans that just want to see Vin Diesel fly a car off a building or a dinosaur in the passenger seat with them, this is going to be boring to them. But if you appreciate world building and you appreciate writing and you appreciate character development and character arcs, you'll appreciate this movie.
That's why I appreciate The Last Jedi too.
Really, that's where you got to go with. Mind you, I said good writing.
Oh.
I stand by my comment.
Exactly, Lunga. Thank you.
Motherfucker.
And it was loyal to the source material.
Just like.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
F your source material. I want my Dyad that never existed to be the Sith.
As Kathleen Kennedy said, Lunga, there is no source material. All right, we had nothing to go off of.
Okay.
None at all.
No store treatments. But I think that is a good time to wrap things up. I know we went semi long, but I did want to talk about poor Daisy Ridley in that car accident and all the actors and shit that came after.
I saw some comments on there that made me question society. They're like, "Oh man, she can hit me with her car any day." I was like,
"You understand the levels a lot of these Sims will go to."
I just got a genius idea for a GIF.
I'm like,
I just got a genius idea for a GIF. When Sebulba crashes his pod racer, put Daisy Ridley's face on Sebulba when she crashes the pod racer.
That's pretty good.
Before we finish, I got to see if there's any new Lego Star Wars news that I can quickly.
I'm going.
And with that being said, that's the end of Chatooine.
Thank you all for tuning in. We'll get you hopefully next week with any news. I think Halloween's next Sunday, so I don't think we did something last year for it. I don't think there'd be really anything for us to do this year.
That was.
I mean, I can bring out a Chewbacca onesie again.
I do not have my unicorn onesie anymore, unfortunately.
I know on Halloween itself, I'm actually going to be at my son's house. He's having a party. It's his first party since he bought his house.
You know what I should do? I should print out a circle of Star Wars Only's logo and go as him for Halloween.
There you go.
Can one of you wear like a Star Wars Only shirt at Celebration, just as like kind of like Padme's decoy in case I get jumped or shot by somebody?
I'll wear the Star Wars Only shirt and I'll wear it like this.
Yeah.
I'll hire Max to be your decoy.
Max can go as me and I'll go as Max, and We'll just see how the day goes.
Did you
How
see
many
the
people-
picture of him sitting next to? I forgot. It was on the Amico thing. He was sitting next to some dude who was actually pretty jacked and pretty big, and Max was like all schlumpy, wearing like a baggy t-shirt and sweatpants, and he's got the mask on. He's sitting there like this next to this guy. I'm like, Max.
I gotta. You gotta send me that picture. That's funny. I want to see that.
I gotta
I'm
find
gonna
it.
do that. All right. Thanks to everybody who stuck around and tuned in. This was a good Chatooine show. Till next time, we will see you guys in a week or so.
Wow.